go ahead and get started with our Indianapolis 500 winners morning after press conference. We are pleased to be joined by the champion of the 101st running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Pengrade Motor Oil, Takuma Sato of Andretti Autosport. Takuma, congratulations. I'm sure since we've been together for most of the evening and this morning that it's been a complete whirlwind experience for you. And I heard on SportsCenter this morning that you were actually out until 2 a.m. last night.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you've been doing since Checkered Flag.
Well, since Checkered Flag, I don't know, I've probably done 30 interviews, and it's just all nice. Obviously, nice to talk. I was exhausted, but somehow keep on going because I think adrenaline has just pumped me up. And went to the couple of races last night, primarily for the team dinner. So all the team members, crews have the Marriott Hotel, and we are going at midnight. And then after that, just supporting my member. It's got a little talk and a little drink, and then I went to 2 a.m. So I went to the bed 3 a.m. actually, because by that time my phone is just about exposure. You know, the Explorer, but the from Japan, it's been in the daytime. So it's been a little journey, and wake up this morning 6:45 or whatever time. So a few hours sleep, but keep on going. So thank you very much for the support.
I can imagine it seems from what you're saying that the support from the IndyCar community has been quite strong, but also because of the time difference, at the same time as everyone's kind of dying down in Indianapolis, everybody in Japan is just waking up. How has the international support been, and especially from all of your friends and family back home in Japan?
It's just fantastic. Everybody's so happy, and I've got, I don't know, probably hundreds and thousands of emails by now with all the SNS congrats and things from the fans and cross families, and no, it's just great. You know, as soon as getting the evening here, it's basically good morning in Japan. So as Kate said, it's just non-stop going. And but I must admit this is the happiest things, and yeah, I can get on with that.
I know you've been asked this question a lot, but this means a lot for your country, and especially all of the involvement you've had since 2011 with a tsunami and earthquake relief with You Japan. How special is this for you and your home country?
This is a special. I always wear the special helmet for the Indy 500. It wasn't this case this year, but I always did, and it's always go to the charity auction for the helmets and for the laser fan for it, and a couple of sponsors over there. Also, the donation was always helpful. The Visit Japan program really started 2011, immediately after the earthquake happened, and all the intention was helping for the children from devastated area. So in the difficulties, the life for them, lost friends and family, and lost home. As I repeatedly said, 250,000 people still living in temporary house today. So it's suffering a lot. It is on the recovery, but it's a long way. So I couldn't put a big donation, but I can bring some energy through the motor racing. So always I invite 100, 150 kids from devastated area, and then we do a go-karting event in the last few years. And that's spreading all over the Japan now, and there is a few places to help. And we did some tournament system. And then end of the year, last year, Suzuka, we had a great race. So it's combined all Japan as well as a devastated area, boy and girls. So it's great. I think it's great support, everyone. And as long as I could do, I wanted to keep supporting the children until become the adult, and hopefully one of them become a professional race driver.
Throughout the Indy 500, even though you know anything can happen in 500 miles, it was really hard to bet against Andretti Autosport this year because of the strength of the team and the strength of the drivers. When you started with opening practice on the Monday after the IndyCar Grand Prix, did you get in that car and know that you had a shot of winning in a couple weeks' time?
I couldn't picture myself to winning, but always winning is our aim. So obviously we race here, only reason is go for the win, of course. Yes, the answer is difficult to say, but I felt car has got tremendous speed right come off the package, only because they have such a good base setting from last year. And over the course of the winter, I know the back in shop, the boys working on the car, so much details, and talking through my race engineer, I know from the numbers, it looking quite promising. Now, of course, tire could be different, and condition it is obviously different. So, I don't know how it's going to be, but fundamentally, the speed come from the preparation, and that was the case from day one. And I was very impressed about not only for the quality level the car's building, but the program, the test program. So you got probably 2-3 hours of just to figure out getting comfortable by yourself, and maybe some adjustment according to the condition. But like at 4 p.m. on time, we're going to do the group run from day one, which is very impressive, because no matter whatever other test program, you have to quit and be prepared for the group run. That is creating some traffic and exposing where the weakness of the car and where the strengths of the car. And amongst of the 6 drivers, divided different setup, and then finding what the best way is. And that's everyday things. So answer the question, yes, when I get to the car, Garrett, my race engineer, just to use their last year setup. The other driver who already in here, they already developed from last year. But the Garrett, my race engineer, wanted me to just to feel it out. This is a generic Andretti all-sport setup for the super speedway. I drove it. Wow, this is impressive, even though it was a green truck. So yes, I felt it was a good feeling. And then since then, it's developing every day. We had a windy day, we had a cold day, and it wasn't a really hot day, to be honest. It's only one evening we had nearly up to 109 degrees temperature on track temperature. But other than that, very smooth, and repeatedly saying it was just seamlessly walking through the six drivers, and with a strong engineer. So that was a very, very strength of the team.
What if we went back even further from a couple of weeks ago, back to when you first started racing cars at, I think, age 19?
Yeah.
Was the Indy 500 even on your radar at that point?
No, to be honest, no. It's a longer story to make it short. This is no secret, but I was aiming for Formula One, only because that was my first race to see it with my father was Formula One in Japanese Grand Prix. So it just naturally followed them. But having said that, I do remember physically, I watched the race through TV. It was Indy 500 when I was age 6 or 7. My TV, it wasn't remote control. It was dial like this. You probably didn't know, but I was so keen on that TV day. And I didn't realize that was Indy 500, but now I can tell you 100% because it was a super speedway, it was an oval, and I'm familiar with this scenery. So it was Indy 500. So that's when I go to Europe and go through the Formula One project. And that was obviously awesome time over there. But the back in mind, always ringing the bell, Indy 500, it's something I really want to try all the time. And the opportunity come 2009 at the qualifying day. I came here the first time and stood inside of Town 1, and I was very impressed. Coming from Formula One, usually you don't really surprised by speed, but this speed is something completely different. You come down 230 miles per hour down the straight, and that speed, the driver going to the corner, and they are controlling. The car was sliding. I could see it physically, and that was like big surprise. And then I talked most of the team owners, and Jimmy Vassar told me that he would wait, because back in then there was no secret again. I was nominated for the finalist for the Renault Formula One team. So I was waiting for the final confirmation, and it didn't happen in that way. But Jimmy, okay, by all means, let's go for the IndyCar. So that's how we started, and I really a big thanks to Jimmy to bring me in here And of course, after that, Bobby gave me a great chance, and everyone knows 2012 Town 1 Chichesh. And then after that, AJ gave me 4 years of light for legendary number 14 car, and I'm ready to Autosport. It's a fantastic opportunity for me to working with Michael and driving 26 car. I mean, how happy the boys today, everyone's so happy. And the whole entire team, we just got a picture of every single family. And I was very, very happy. So even though it was 2 hours photo shooting, I don't mind because everybody's so smiling, happy.
Wonderful. We'll open up for questions, and we'll start with Tony.
Takuma, Honda has been a huge link of both your careers, both the F1 and IndyCar side, but you've had the opportunity to know Honda Japan culture and Honda of America culture. How are they different, or how are they similar, and what kind of you learned from both sides?
The one thing is, one goal is for the winning, is Honda DNA, and that's come from, of course, Mr. Soichiro Honda. And that's the way the Honda Japan, American Honda, it really doesn't matter. Obviously, for the production model and endorsement and legal road car, it is reflecting what the regional, the request. But fundamentally, that's how Honda wanted to push absolute on the limit. That's, I could see the both ways very, very similar, and not only for the Honda Global, but very specifically like HPD here. It is the same philosophy, and go back to the Tochigi R&D in Japan, same. And HRD used to be in a UK base for the Formula 1 engines, and everybody's the same. So, for example, Tanabe-san, who is a chief technical sort of field director, if I'm wrong, sorry, but he's overlooking a lot of stuff, details, and he was a Formula 1 engine engineer for the Jensen. And Mr. Hasegawa, who was my engine engineer, is now the head of Formula 1 project. So its platform is going back and forth, but as a Honda, it's just for one aim. It is winning. So I can see both ways.
Takuma, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're the very first Japanese driver winning the Indy 500, and also what's even better, Japanese engine also it's built here. You mentioned earlier you got a lot of phone calls, emails, etc. from Japan. Do you think personally this maybe can bring more Japanese drivers to IndyCar racing? Maybe we have maybe a race again in Japan, IndyCar-wise. And personally for you, do you think that you will be approached now by a Japanese company for sponsorship, future sponsorship?
I certainly hope so. I mean, I want to see the new generation. I mean, as long as I can drive, I want to compete them, of course, but beat me and come up and then get even better. I think there is a lot of potential young Japanese driver is out there, and there is a few of them in Europe. Unfortunately, we haven't really seen the up-and-coming young Japanese driver in the States, but after this result, I'm sure there's many drivers who wanted to achieve that one. And here in the States, there is a great pyramid and scholarship system from a junior formula to the up until, Indy Lights and IndyCar. So there's always great opportunity, and Honda is committed, for this series, and I'm here to help anything. So, yeah, by all means, I'm open to talk to anybody. And of course, for the sponsorship terms, it is heavily reflected by economies, but like this race, it is amazing when you have a great qualification. I suddenly have a primary sponsorship. So and that was there was supposed to be one race, but maybe let's see, there's maybe a few more. So it is always market here, and if you understand the structure, I'm sure there is an opportunity for Japanese company to involve the sponsorship.
Working with Ziggy, how comforting was that to know? Because I know he told me on pit lane a little bit ago that you guys sat next to each other on 2 trips to Japan, and you already knew him before you joined the team. So how important of a role does Ziggy play, and what's some of the strategy that he did yesterday that really helped you win the race?
I feel comfortable talking to Ziggy because my eye line is exactly the same as his. I don't have to look up. But no, I mean, it's he's just genuine great guy. And I've known him only because my manager, Steve Fusek, worked with Ziggy, back in Pac West days. So even we were a different team in the past few years, when you're passing it through the pit lanes, we talk about it. And when finally I came to the Android Eurosport, Ziggy is, recording my race. That's fantastic. So I already know the few people in the team has got confidence because, it's a building a relationship, all about building a relationship. He's certainly helping for that. And he brought the he brought a great spotter, Damon Hill, who spotting me turn 3. Of course, my primary spotter is Roger, has been 8 years. He's just unbelievable guy. But at the same level, Damon was doing great job, from New Zealand. So it was a kind of team island, But it's great. I think Ziggy is putting everything he could, putting together. I think working extremely well.
Takuma, Sebastian Bourdais said he didn't know how many friends he had among the drivers until he had his accident, and
right.
Seemingly every driver showed up to see him and visit him. Tell me about the reaction you had on pit lane yesterday, because it seemed like every driver, team owner, even AJ came running for you. Their show of respect must have moved you.
Yes, I think that's really show the talk about what the IndyCar like. It is extremely tight competition out there on track, but you can see we care each other because that's how all about in sport, and not only for the racing. I know everybody's working on it by their own program, but if things happen like Sebastian, and we are heavily concerned when Dixie's incident yesterday. And it was so relief, he got out of the car. And we all think about Sebastian as a speedy recovery. He's a strong guy, and he already showing like tremendous recovery already. And it's great union, I think. So everybody care, but it is extremely tight field, so it's very competitive guys. Having said that, it was nice to see everyone really cheering on me, and congrats to me yesterday, including a lot of team owners and including AJs come to the winner's circle. That is very nice. So I feel very, very lucky. I feel really, really appreciate all the support from them.
Very few drivers have won at 40 and older. And yesterday, you had a 42-year-old guy chasing a 40-year-old driver in a real rarity. What do you think about age involvement where you have the two guys that old competing?
Yeah, I think you're making a great point because, Helion and I is supposed to be 82 years old, right? That's good. I think it's good for the sport, showing a determination and how the person can be competitive as you are. If you look at a baseball player Ichiro, he's also over 40, and he's doing tremendous speed, and his kicking, dashing speed is even improving. So very physical, pure performance, of course it's going to down. But if you're working on it specifically, what you need to your sport or your specialize, I think people can still improve. And with additional is what you have is experience, and become such a quality experience make you perfection. So it's great to see a lot of teens and young 20s drivers on charge. It's nice to see it, but we are by all means, we can compete. And Tony Kana is another example. Helio, Tony, me, it's kind of age 40 group, and it's a couple of years ago Dario was the one to beat. And everybody's respecting because he's just a pinnacle. And I think that's good for the sport, for the mixture. And in the 500, you can do that physically. It is exhausting because 2.5 hours race, and even I have a little pain in arm today. But it's tough on when you go to street course, road course. For example, Detroit this weekend. It's double header. It's incredibly bumpy track, very physical. So that's you have to physically prepare a lot more than here. But here is really driven by mental. The mental strength is the one you have to keep on concentrate. You have to judge. Now is the time to go, or you pull back. And you have to. There's no mistake. One single mistake, you're gone. So that's part of the combination. And I think even still age 40. it was a proof that we were competitive as young people, and I think it's a good motivation.
We've heard a lot of comments from drivers in Formula One on this race this year for obvious reasons, with Alonso, but also now with you, an ex-F1 driver who people know from your time there. Do you think that what we've seen this year will encourage a few more Formula One drivers to take this race and IndyCar as a whole more seriously and maybe see it more as a valid career option rather than something they think about falling into when Formula One's over?
Right. I mean, that's a nice way to look at that. I think everybody, as a fan base point of view, I think would like to see it. You know, Formula E is a good example. It is kind of offsetting off-season style. So a lot of very competitive, international race driver, ex-Formula One driver is also challenging that one, including me. I did it for the Agurison for the first race. So IndyCar platform is obviously different, but like Fernando's case was proved, you can do it. But during the season, I think it's incredibly difficult things, and particularly from Formula One to here or versus. I think Fernando's case is extremely rare case, but love to see it. Like back in old days, they go, back and forth in Europe and the States, and they compete with various different category. That's quite good fun, and I want to do that too. So, but meanwhile, I really wanted to concentrate for the Indy 500 as well as for the championship in here. So that's why I really didn't take part of any other series. But after this, there's a wide open opportunity. It would be nice to see other drivers compete together.
Takuma, after Dixon's accident yesterday, it renewed some speculation by a lot of people that enclosing the cockpits or putting in some sort of a roll cage may be an inevitability. What are your thoughts and feelings about protection for the driver?
Yes, the closing cockpit is one thing we always discuss about it, and there's some discussion for sure in positive and both negatives. But for the safety point of view, it is 100% better to have it. I mean, Scott's case, he was just extremely lucky to go to the sideways, going to the wall. If that was indirectly going to the cockpit, it would have been worst case scenario, right? So we don't want to do that situation. So open wheels, difficult always, open cockpit is always difficult, as well as open wheel, because that's extreme. That's exactly happened, right? He was on the tire, which launched it. So in a way, there is no perfection, and the sport is always danger. Even other category where they don't use any equipment, but they still in huge danger when you're in sport. And you're walking in a public road too. There is always danger. So I cannot say, but there is a great to see that FIA is involving for the closing cockpit R&D things, and hopefully it's happening to very, very close future, because we just lost, the best friend in, a few years ago. So. It'd be nice to see improvement for the next level, because really Ayrton Senna's death after including a Formula One, but all the platform for the open cockpit formula, even junior formula nowadays have a huge protection. That's only because of his accident. So now we've seen we need to move up to the next level.
Takuma?
Yep. Yes.
First off, congratulations on your victory. When you awakened this morning, did you have a hard time believing?
Actually, yes. I had a few hours sleep, so I had a headache and kind of feeling not great. And oh my gosh, was it just a dream? But my manager saying, "Come on, you got 5 minutes to go and for the interview." Okay, now it's real. So it was nice to see it was actually happened.
During the photo shoot, I saw you looking at the on the Borg Warner Trophy. I saw you looking at the other drivers' photo images. What's going to be your reaction when you see your image on there?
Wow, I mean that would be like a wow factor. I think I can't wait to see my face on the the historical trophy on it. I mean, I was happy enough to be. My face was on the Long Beach plate too, you know, and it was nice to see. Following a year, go back there, the fan club tour, everybody take a picture together, and it was such a happy moment. So now I've got the best trophy in the world to name on it forever. That means something very, very special. I'm extremely happy about that.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
I got a chance to talk to Michael today, and he was saying one of the things he was most proud of is that of his 5 wins, it's been 5 different drivers that have won. And I was wondering, for you, how important is it for you to come to a team where you know that he's going to give each one of his drivers a chance to win the 5
absolutely. I mean, in 100-year-old sport, every single driver is a potential winner. Well, it is a winner, right? You know, Ryan won it, Alex won it, and Marco was nearly. And I was almost too. So I think Michael did a great job in terms of prepare. All the team got things together and got signed with most competitive drivers in the field. And that's why I was very happy, extremely happy to be chosen from him to become his driver. And amongst of the practice day, we worked together, we shared the information. There was no secret, no hidden. So when I had a great qualification on Saturday, guess what? Sunday, everybody's number 26 cars set up. It's happened. But it's okay because that building a relationship, I got some benefit from them, you know, versus versa. Now it's in the race day, a tiny little 1% difference made a difference. And then that can be pit stop, it can be in a wing level, it can be your reason for the driving style, and then that's like Michael said, 6 bullets, and the 1 bullet go through it. And I was just lucky yesterday that I was one of them. It's sad to see Ryan had a problem. It was just in front of me happened, and as well as Fernando. But I think in this business you have to keep on challenging, keep on pushing. That's how I was been in the last 7 years. So. Finally this time, thank you very much. I take it, and next year will be a completely different scenario maybe, but I will keep trying.
We'll take our last question from Bruce.
Takuma, you've only got 2 career victories in this series, but they're the 2 biggest races on the schedule. So apparently the brighter the spotlight, the bigger you get up for those races. What's it like to have the 2 crown jewels of the series as a winner?
Well, I feel just so lucky, happy, incredibly proud of the team who made me happen in this way. AJ's the team winning at the 2013 Long Beach was such a special moment, as well as this Indy 500 winning. You know, even you dreaming about it, even you put the perfect scenario. Still, you cannot win here, right? Because it's so many perfection you really needed. I had a small issue yesterday. There is a small technical issue, but that could be throwing out. It was very, very close. I can't tell the details, but it was very close. But when things happen, it's just like Tony Kanaan said, yeah, the track chooses you. And I think we were. Number 26 car was deserved to be chosen yesterday because everybody's so hard work. Now, of course, after Long Beach win, after Indy 500 win, okay, so when is the next one? I don't care. I don't care where it is. I'm happy to go back on the podium at the Detroit next week and then the following in Texas. And I'm so looking forward, particularly now in championship standings. Standing is very high now, and suddenly it is the real challenge for the championship. That is the most exciting things for my life right now. So let's try to give it everything.
Takuma, I have one more question for you. It's probably one you haven't heard yet today, but if I hand you my phone, can you tell me what you would like for lunch?
Oh, okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Takuma, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.